Hey guys, Doff here with some more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer action. Hope y'all are enjoying the new patch, and I know you're probably sick to death of High Elves versus Greenskins, but I wanted to make one kind of footnote here and say that you shouldn't forget about TYRION. He's definitely very strong still, gained martial mastery, so he's got just insane stats, 83 attack and what is that, 72 defense here. This is Aerocrastic versus Flying Taco, with TYRION and an Arcane Phoenix leading the way. We've got Silverin Guard up front, second line of Lothern Sea Guard, yep, a couple of Illyrian Reavers, some War Lions. As for the Greenskins, Grom the Paunch leading the way, and I know a lot of people are saying that Grom is actually terrible against the High Elves, and while they do have plenty of fire damage to attempt to snipe him, at the same time, if you micro him well, use that damage resistance ability appropriately, he can be very, very hard for the High Elves to kill. Got some Squig Hoppers here, Orc Boys in the front line, Giant River Troll Hags, some Stone Trolls, Savage Orc Boar Boys, pretty cost effective here. Goblin Wolf Rider Archers as well, so a kind of nice mixed build, couple of Pump Wagons up front. The one thing, and as I was spectating this battle as it was happening live, I did mention to Flying Taco that he doesn't have any terror, which could potentially be a little bit of an issue, but that they need stabbing, getting hit on TYRION here. His melee defense will still be just fine with the Feint and Riposte responding. And yeah, he'll just absolutely wreck that Gobbo if he stays in contact. But actually, TYRION going to go ahead and get out of there as he doesn't want to get too caught out from support. Very nice use of the Phoenix drop there. The Phoenix kind of a stationary vortex. Doesn't do all that much damage, but pretty good against the Orc Boys. Kind of helps do a bit of damage there. Meanwhile, over on the side here, we've got Squig Hoppers pushing through. The Lothern Sea Guard combined. Countercharge of the Reavers. The Reavers kind of sacrificing themselves here, but with their high charge bonus, they should be able to win that engagement okay, since they did get a good countercharge. Likewise, these Trolls, regular Trolls in the front line, absolutely getting wrecked. But TYRION, he can act as a tank here. Oh, and I failed to mention Lore of Metal as well for the High Elves, just Final Transmutation only, which now an Overcast Final Transmutation going to be popped here on this big blob. And yeah, the Savage Orc Boar Boys, they take a lot of damage from that, both units and the characters as well, obviously, that big boss and the Troll Hag too. That does kind of bail TYRION out, but I was going to say with these two kind of self-healing, expensive, high-power single entities, you can afford to take something other than Lore of Life, and I love the pick of Lore of Metal with High Elves now. I think it's going to be very, very strong. A beautiful purple sun, though, coming in from the Troll Hag, getting quite a bit of work done. Battle's definitely still pretty close. The High Elves are getting a little bit thin on numbers, but the balance of power slightly in their favor as, yeah, these heroes and stuff with Greenskins have taken a lot of damage, and a lot of the stuff that's left is not particularly brave, you know, it's just a bunch of boys, so we'll see how they do. Let's get in close. The Savage Orc Boar Boys, I think, are honestly probably one of the most cost-effective cav in the game now. 750 points. With their Frenzy active, they have a really nice charge. Here, they're going to get a little bit beat up, but that physical resistance can help them in some situations. Also, what is that, 35 armor? Not too bad once you factor in the physical resistance on top of that. But here, the Arcane Phoenix is going to get a little bit caught out. The Stone Trolls, unfortunately, I mean, the magic resistance will help them in this situation, but they still are going to be weak to fire. So it kind of cancels itself out. TYRION has yet to get the Heart of Avalorn proc, which means he is at danger of getting routed before he gets it. We'll see. See kind of how it plays out here. War Lion's going to stay mobile, try and chase a lot of these routing units, but a great catch with these Orc Boys to catch them kind of flat-footed there without getting their charge. And these Lothern Sea Guard getting cleaned, but a nice Vortex. Oh yeah, beautiful stuff. The Phoenix coming in with the flames, landing right in there to proc a terror route, potentially, and it looks like the big boss is going to be the target. Yes, trying to get rid of that they need stab and debuff, and TYRION is caught up in the center. Okay, now it all makes sense. TYRION's here. He did get the Heart of Avalorn proc, it looks like. Got a big burst of healing there. Feint and Riposte continuing to help sustain him in that engagement. That extra physical resistance super important. The Gobbo Big Boss only 151 HP, and the balance of power actually in the High Elves' favor despite things looking kind of grim. We've got these Illyrian Reavers coming back from out. Beautiful charge on the Wolf Rider Archers. The 8-peak Loons a little bit late to follow up. Boars are going to rear charge these Lothern Sea Guard. Very well done there, but these healthy-ish Lions in the center actually aren't taking a whole lot of damage from the Orc Boys, at least for the time being. Don't want to stay in sustained combat for too long, and Grom also going to be a big threat here. TYRION just absolutely tanking this blob. Grom's gonna angrily ride away and try and think of another... Oh, just kidding. He's gonna charge again, and... not really a lot of thought to Grom, just charge stuff, right? But definitely try and keep him alive. Charge different things all of the time, you know? But ABC, right? Always be charging. That's the Chariot rule. The Arcane Phoenix comes in here with the Lucky Banner. He'll be relatively resistant to that, and a very nice Fanatics cast coming in does quite a bit of damage to those Silver and Guard. And Silver and Guard, despite their defensive stats and their magic resistance, they still die to Fanatics, right? But it's still very, very close. The balance of power a little bit deceptive at this point. 8 Peak Loons could actually carry quite a bit here, all things considered. But another beautiful Vortex there, going to do a lot of damage to the boys. Grom going down will be a problem for sure, and there's not a lot that can take out Tyrion, I guess. Maybe he could probably solo all of... I say maybe. He could definitely solo all of these 8 Peak Loonies, just because he has such good stats. But a nice Final Transmutation also comes in, and I think that's probably army losses. Yep. All it is left is the 8 Peak Loons. So we'll get in close and watch Tyrion. He doesn't have to solo them, but yeah. That's what they'll do. Metal Mage comes in here, and that's it. Very fun one. And I do think Tyrion plus the Arcane Phoenix is pretty good here. I don't know if the Arcane Phoenix is really more cost-effective than the regular Fire Phoenix, the Flame Spire. I'd have to kind of do some testing and see the Feces drop versus the Vortex drop. See which kind of does more damage. I would think, though, that just the higher weapon strength and better stats of the Arcane Phoenix could potentially be worth it, especially if you're trying to go after Greenskins characters. But Tyrion here just absolutely chatting out all the damage, and I guess the point of this was don't sleep on Tyrion, right? I do have one more replay to show you from this matchup between myself and Flying Taco. But yeah, with this build, again, I mentioned to Flying Taco, you need some kind of source of terror. The Queen, I think, is just so essential here. And you know what? Actually, let's just get to the next replay. So yes, the Queen is essential in this matchup. I absolutely am of that opinion. And here we've got the Night Goblin War Boss on his Squig. He's going to provide some beautiful control ability and some nice debuffs as well. He's also got some Fanatics for AoE damage. Got the Wolf Rider Archers here, some Black Orcs, the Big Boss, Catapults, a couple of Pump Wagons, and just Goblins up front, plenty of numbers. So yeah, the Black Orcs here I think are very essential as well. High Elves are not likely to bring great counter units for Black Orcs. I mean, like... especially with the current implementation of things like buffed Black Orcs. Oh, man, did we just blast a boy there? Oh, he's fine. Anyway, I think they'll probably beat Swordmasters when they're buffed up anyway, and like, you know, High Elves are probably not likely to bring Sisters of Avalorn here, but anyway, let's have a look at Taco's High Elf build. This is something else that we wanted to try in this matchup to see how it would work. So Taco's Elves, Talk Elves, has taken the Princess here on the Star Dragon, or not on the Star Dragon, on the Griffin, obviously. And just a nice front line of Silver and Guard here. We've got some Lothran Sea Guard, Silver Helms, Hogwarts Pride, War Lions, very essential in this matchup for the leadership debuff, Lore of Beasts, and Lore of Life, so Manticore summons plus healing. And yeah, let's see how it goes. I'm going to be using my Doom Diver to continuously pressure the Princess, and this is one of the other reasons why why Tyrion can be so good here, is that Doom Divers can pressure flying units very effectively, and especially large hitbox flying, you know, expensive targets. It can just continuously keep up the pressure over the course of the match, so we'll see how the Princess does against that. But High Elves kind of cautiously making their advance here. The Silver and Guard are definitely very, very good here, and you know, the War Lions, personally, I'd probably have cut the 2 Silver Helms out for just more Reavers, just like 2 more Reavers, and then, I don't know, just more massive stuff, basically. Silver Helms are okay. I'm not the biggest fan of them. I know a lot of other people really love them, but anyway, frontline engagement going to get underway. These Goblins, I wouldn't expect to beat Silver and Guard, but we need to charge up the Wasp, so let's go ahead and get them in combat. Silver and Guard won't beat them very quickly. In the center here, we managed to get the 8 Peak Loons with a pretty good Fanatics cast down the line. It's not the best, but it does some okay damage to the Hogwarts Pride and the Silver and Guard. Not as much as I would have liked, but still, you know, it's Fanatics. not the most reliable. Black Orc's going to kind of secure the flank here. I've got my Doom Diver kind of backed up. There's a couple little Orc huts here that count as impassable terrain. That's great for me. And the Pump Wagons come over here, and actually I'm using them against Cavalry with the War Boss kind of using his debuffs there, that Fermented Fungi on those Silver Helms. Burning one of those charges I figured was worth it to try and win pretty decisively over here and draw these other Silver Helms into an engagement. And now the Waaagh being popped in the front line, suddenly the Goblins will be trading a lot more effectively with those High Elves in the front line, and the Spider is an absolute force to be reckoned with, especially considering that a lot of Taco's AP is wrapped up in this Princess and a really nice Overcast Vindictive Glare. Plus the Doom Diver is just absolutely a menace here. She's going to go ahead and use that volley of high arrows before it goes away. Do some okay damage to the Black Orcs, but yeah, the lack of armor piercing here could potentially come back to haunt the Elves, and that's kind of the classic High Elf problem in a lot of cases. The Lothern Sea Guard will be able to do some okay damage here. Obviously, the Goblins will all eventually lose out, but the Black Orcs will definitely be a problem, and that's just kind of the idea, is just by a build here, even by mismicroing things, which you can see I'm definitely doing with these Black Orcs, and even if I make mistakes, just the fact that I have quite a few units that are hard to kill, as long as I kind of protect them from the relevant targets, then should be okay. Likewise, the Doom Diver gives me some insurance against flying units. I can continuously pressure them and kind of dictate the pace of the engagement in many cases. I'm having a hard time protecting the Doom Diver, though, speaking of which, at this point. See the War Boss back here, desperately trying to. He's going to go ahead and throw another Tormentor Sword on these Silver Helms, but it's not enough. Eventually, these Reavers find their way through and are going to take out this Doom Diver crew. But the War Boss trading very efficiently here with these Silver Helms. And yeah, actually, Taco's doing a good job kind of restabilizing here. He's got the Princess pulled back, and with my Doom Diver shut down, I don't really have any way of directly pressuring her. But I got a scheme, so we're going to go ahead and deploy that. The Big Boss had taken quite a bit of damage earlier. He's now coming back to the fight, so a nice kind of second half here as both of us reform our forces a little bit. Taco doing a great job chasing off some of these routing units with those Reavers, while I'm just pressuring through with the AP Gloons, just trying to make sure these Lothern Sea Guard can't get set and firing. But the schemes are coming. Can you guess what it would be? It has something to do with the mushroom, and the fact that this mushroom makes you very angry. And yep, it's going to proc the Enrage. The Princess is going to come down directly to the Spider, which I had positioned here, and that's going to be the end of the Princess. Most likely, we get a Spiderling summon just to kind of make sure she can't go anywhere after the Enrage wears off. And she's actually not taking too much damage right now. The Spider is somehow being blocked by the War Boss. Finally, the War Boss gets a couple hits and she actually goes down, but I was a little scared that wasn't going to work. And finally, the Lord Snipe has occurred, and with that, a lot of the High Elf units are going to start to run low on leadership. Likewise, these Black Orcs, again, I guess with all the Lothern Sea Guard that are left, like focus firing them, if they were the only thing left, would be enough. But I mean, there's still this Spider here as well. We're going to kind of overextend with, and here Taco makes a great move to try and pull the game max, summoning a Manticore and then using his two casters. And I talk about this sometimes. Single entity combat, numbers almost always wins. 3-on-1, I can say basically almost always wins. I mean, obviously there's some RNG factors there and the specific single entities involved, but like in this situation, this Spider would probably eventually lose given enough time against just the Manticore and the two casters, but that's not how it actually is. Tormentor Sword here coming in from the War Boss, who's relatively unscathed as well. And here comes the Big Boss also. But yeah, you can see just in that short amount of time, the Arachnarok Spider actually took quite a bit of damage from the Manticore and the two casters. So a nice kind of counterplay there. Black Orcs here with the Mighty Roar. Unfortunately, the Rahagras Pride just didn't have enough left in the tank to actually finish off their leadership. And that's pretty much going to be it. So big thanks to Flying Taco and Aerocrastic both for, allowing me to cast their game, and then Taco also for this game. It's definitely an interesting matchup. I do think that TYRION's potentially going to be very good here, and in a number of other matchups. Don't sleep on him. Some of the new tools, I think the Phoenix thing, I don't know. I wasn't that high on the Arcane Phoenix, but I know, I want to say Turin casted the game, if I'm remembering right, with something similar. And yeah, really think there's something to that Tyrion Phoenix combo. Here, I like this build quite a bit as well. You know, personally, I am a fan of the Princess on the Griffin. I think just the Doom Diver is such consistent pressure in this matchup. I don't know, if your opponent brings one, you're going to have a hard time keeping her safe and getting value out of her. I mean, I will say Flying Taco did try and snipe the artillery piece. I don't know if you guys caught that early on. I didn't highlight it, but he used the volley of high arrows to try and, you know, just snipe out the Doom Diver catapults. I guess one way you could try and get around that as well for the High Elves is maybe take a bolt thrower or two and try and counterfire, but since Doom Divers have a lot longer range and the bolt throwers, you can end up getting swarmed anyway because you don't really have the unit models to protect them. But I don't know, it's kind of a matchup that I would say right now is pretty even. And I have to say, besides maybe the pump wagons being a little bit too cheap, the DLC overall seems pretty well balanced. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.